I, Miles Walter, the future alpha of Dark Howl Pack, reject you, Cassandra Williams, as my Luna and mate.
He spat at me. I felt my heart shatter to a million pieces as my uncontrolled sobs got louder, echoing in the blocked room of the pack house.
Accept that damned rejection and never come in front of me again. You disgust me, human. Your parents should have just left you alone to die in the woods. Why did they save you? Perhaps I would have gifted them another mate.
The amount of disgust he had towards me made my heart rip apart. I didn't know what hurt the most. His rejection, or the fact that he just said that it would have been better if I died. I clenched my blouse in my fist as I bent over with pain. Rejected. He rejected me. Never in my life have I thought that I actually would have to live through this. I may be a human, yet being rejected was just too painful to bear.
I said, accept the stupid rejection. Let me live my life. I want a strong Luna, not a weak human like you.
He growled as he ruthlessly grabbed my hair and pulled it back. I screamed in pain, but that wouldn't make any difference to him. I accept. I stuttered through my gasps of breath.
Not like that, bitch! Accept it properly!
His menacing growl echoed in the air. He had made sure that the entire pack was busy with the annual barbecue before he invited me inside, so that no one would hear us. At first, I thought he was finally going to accept our bond. We had found out that we were mates a month ago, on his 19th birthday. I knew he was disappointed. But since he never rejected me, I had always kept my hopes high. However, he never really accepted either. He kept avoiding me, so I had never told anyone that we were mates. And today when he called me and asked if I could meet him separately, I was ecstatic, thinking that he finally wanted to accept me as his mate. But I was wrong. I was utterly wrong. I flinched as his grip tightened around my hair, making the pain intensify. I knew he would just hurt me more, so I decided that it would be best if I accepted the rejection. Cassandra Williams, accept your rejection. I gasped, and he let me go.
Good. Now leave before anyone sees you here. My parents might come back from the open ground, and by that time, I want you gone.
He spoke through the gritted teeth and stomped out of the room. I felt ruined. This was worse than my 15th birthday. That was the day I realized that I was different from others in my pack. The day I found out that I was not the real child of my parents. That day, I discovered that I was nothing but a human. When my wolf didn't surface, my parents decided to finally answer my questions. The questions I had been asking since childhood. Why did the other kids have a better sense of hearing and smell? Why could they run faster? Why were they way more active than I was? And why, no matter how hard I tried, they seemed to excel in sports and studies while I seemed to lag? That day, my heart broke into a million pieces when they revealed that I was a child that they had found abandoned in the woods. I was wrapped in a pink blanket and put in a basket. They took me in, and with the permission of Alpha Sam, Miles's father, they looked after me as their own. I got accepted into the pack and blended in well. I made friends despite being worse at literally everything when compared to them. I had cried my heart out that day. If it hadn't been for my besties, Sarah and Olga, I would have run away. And if it hadn't been for Nolan, the one whom I saw as a brother, I would have succeeded in escaping. They had managed to make me understand that my parents would be heartbroken if I left. Besides, they threatened to sniff me out and drag me back to the pack if I ever fled. So I stayed back. At least I had great friends and a loving family, though they weren't related to me. I thought nothing could be worse than finding out that I was the odd one of the pack. But I was wrong. Being rejected by your mate is worse. It feels like your heart is ripped out of your chest and thrown down a cliff. I slowly got up and made my way out of the pack house. It would be best that I leave. I don't want to find out what Miles might do if he finds me here when he comes back. I knew the whole pack would be rejoicing and celebrating the full moon tonight. I also used to enjoy it with my family and friends every year. However, tonight, I just need to be alone. I strolled into the woods, skillfully avoiding the low-lying branches and fallen logs. The moonlight was enough for me to see through the not-too-dense part of the woods. Since I was just a human, I didn't have the gift of night vision. So I had to fully rely on the moonlight. I walked until I reached the huge cliff that was a 15-minute walk away. I stared at the breathtaking natural beauty. The soft breeze and the sound of gushing water from the waterfall nearby had always brought peace to my heart. Not this time, though. My soulmate had rejected me. What could be worse than that? Who would want to live with a weak human? Perhaps I should leave this pack. They would be better off without me. I had seen numerous times my parents struggled to keep me safe during rogue attacks. My sniffles and sobs slowly got easier to control as I realized that they would find it easier to survive without me. Then, they would be stronger with me out of their way, when the weakling of the family is forever gone. Miles was right. I should have died. My parents should have left me to die instead of bringing me here to live in a pack. I turned around. I saw the orange light from the bonfire. I knew they would be rejoicing. I smiled. I was blessed to have experienced the love of a family and have great friends. This pack was very helpful and inclusive, except for the few bullies who chose to pick on me. I always had someone to stand up for me, either my besties or Nolan, the real son of my parents, who is elder to me. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for all the love and care. Thank you, Nolan, for the brotherly love. Thank you, Sarah and Olga. You were the best friends I could have ever asked for. Thank you for standing by my side. And thank you for all the awesome memories. But now it's time for me to leave. I sniffled and swallowed a gasp of breath in an attempt to be brave. They had done so much for me. And now, it is my turn to make their lives easier. My heart thudded in my chest as I took timid steps back, until I finally started to fall off the cliff. I felt the cold night air all over my skin. The starry night sky was somehow smiling at me. I knew I would land in the cold water of the river. And perhaps this fall would be brutal enough to erase the problems of those who cared for me. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, mate.
Miles Pav. How pathetic that the wuss turned out to be my mate. Ever since I found out that she was a human 4 years ago, I had been hoping that she was not my mate. However, being the next alpha in line meant that I would have to treat all the members of the pack with equality. So, I had to treat her with respect, despite her being a human. I had successfully hidden my detest towards the lower-ranked wolves. They didn't cause me any trouble anyway. But I just didn't like them. I would consider my entire school life a success. I had stayed away from flings and led a respectful life, just like Dad wanted. He had always told me that being alpha not only meant immense power, it also meant a lot of responsibility. And he was not going to tolerate me being a man whore. So, no girls. And I patiently had to wait for my mate. I didn't have any problem with that. But when I realized that Cassandra was my mate, I just lost all hope. I had seen so many times my mother fighting beside Dad. She had been that powerful, kick-ass Luna, and I had always looked up to her. To me, she was the most suitable kind of Luna. I also had always hoped that I also would get a strong Luna. But fate had other plans for me. I was mated to none other than the only human in our pack. The one who couldn't protect herself during a rogue attack. What would she do during the war? I had seen so many times her so-called family try to protect her, just to keep her safe. There were numerous times that the rogue seemed to be interested in her, as if they just wanted to get rid of her and finish her off. And all of us would have to work together to keep them away from her. Although we never really understood why they would want to kill a mere human. What was she? She wasn't even worth any of that. I felt that it was such a waste of energy. It would have been so much better if she was not there at all. I couldn't understand why we had to work to keep someone who couldn't do anything for us safe. However, no matter how much I hated her, and despite the fact that I was mated to her when she accepted the rejection, I felt the feeling of my heart being ripped. The pain of being rejected. Of course, she wouldn't feel it. She was human, for fuck's sake. How could she feel anything related to the sacred bond of matehood? I hated it. Why is it that only I had to feel it? I wanted her to feel the pain too. So I hurt her as much as I could with my words. Though I didn't mean any of it. I did tell her that it would have been better if she died. I know it was just downright rude, and perhaps not what my dad wanted me to be. But I couldn't care less. I was infuriated. The bond was just unacceptable. I kept taking deep gasps of breaths as I stomped out of the pack house, towards the garden. After spending some time controlling myself, I made my way towards the bonfire. I halted a few meters away so that I could mask my true emotions. After putting up a happy face and stretching my lips in a fake smile, I joined my group of friends. Among them was Nolan, Cassandra's brother. I felt a little bad that I had just made her cry. But I was upset. Wasn't that a good enough reason? Hey man, he greeted, giving me the brotherly hug we always greeted each other with. I patted his back a couple of times, but I was too overwhelmed by emotions to reply to him. Hey, man, congratulations. Your dad is going to announce you as Alpha. Castor, one of our friends, congratulated me. Really? I exclaimed, slowly forgetting what I was worried about. Yeah, he just announced that he would hold the alpha ceremony this weekend. You better find your mate, dude. Nolan chuckled, grinning mischievously at me. Yeah, what is an alpha without his Luna? Castor added, grinning like a Cheshire cat. Yeah, just be mindful about your PDA. Nolan wiggled his eyebrows. Both of them burst out in laughter as they high-fived. I sat down beside them, silently, not knowing how to react to the playful exchange. Normally, I would have slapped their backs or given them a friendly shove. However, right now, I was just too shaken up. How would they react if they knew that I had found her? That she was Cassandra, the human girl? And how would Nolan feel that I had hurt the girl whom he had seen and loved like a little sister? He most probably would never forgive me for rejecting her. And if he ever found out that I had told her that death would be better than her being alive, he would want to murder me. I managed to let out a nervous laugh as I sat down in response. The two exchanged confused glances. Of course, they would know any change in me. They were the best friends I had all my life since we were little pups. Are you okay, man? Castor asked. I could sense both pairs of eyes on me, searching me for answers to their questions. Yeah, I lied and inhaled deeply. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed. Being alpha is big, I trailed off. That was not the real reason, but I just couldn't say it out loud. Not to them, especially not where Nolan was. Perhaps not to anyone. I most probably would have to live with this weird feeling for the rest of my life. Okay, man, if you say so. Nolan paused for some time. But we're always here for you, okay? He smiled and patted my back. Offering a forced smile, I nodded. My heart thudded in my chest like crazy, as if something was not quite right. I had this gut feeling that nothing was going the way it should, that everything just took the wrong turn. Dude, you look white. Castor sounded worried as he handed me a drink. Here, maybe this would help, he said. Thanks, I muttered as I downed the entire shot in one go. It burnt my throat, but it didn't bring any consolation to my frantic heart. But I did try my best to mask it from everyone. I must stay cool, I told myself as I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees.
Nolan,
His mother sounded frantic.
have you seen Cassie?
My head shot up at once when she asked about my mate. No, my ex-mate. However, my heart fluttered at the mention of her. I shook my head. No, I shouldn't be excited about her. She was rejected, and I don't want her. Perhaps I would get another mate instead. No? Why? I thought she went to get something from the pack house. Nolan looked at her, clearly worried about Cassandra. You also came back from the pack house, right? Did you see her?